6 races down and 7 to go. After the season began with 2 drivers showing clear intention going for the coveted Greg Moore Cup, a few other drivers have started challenge for wins and could make things certainly interesting here around the halfway point of this season. The past 3 races have seen 3 different winners. Does that streak continue tonight? Good evening, folks, and welcome to the well past the month of November, actually, on board another live production for Season 2 of the Canadian Motorsports Network DART Series on iRacing. We are back at a road course for round 7 of 13 of the running for the second annual Greg Moore Cup. It's the first ever Detroit Grand Prix in Canadian Motorsports Network DART Series history at Belle Isle in Michigan. And now we will go booth side here. Let's make sure it's all good. Yes, it is. As I was saying.
I mean, you had to know something was coming.
Yeah, there's at least 1 or 2 things I forget every single week, and that was one of them.
Yeah, but, I mean, I'm just as happy.
And the other thing was I forgot to memorize each turn.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get there, and at least I have you for that. But yes, everyone, welcome to the broadcast booth for the Canadian Motorsports Network. I'm your main voice, Corbin MacAulay from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. On the other side, he's been here since the very beginning, but he's on the other side of the country. It's Jordy Carher in Alberta. Now, Jordy, we're coming off a race at the Milwaukee Mile where we saw yet another different winner, someone that wasn't Dylan Bahm or Charlie Sears. I mean, those two wrecked early in quite surprising fashion, and a lot of familiar names from Season 4 of the NASCAR series clashed for the remainder of the race, but in the end, it was Corbin MacAulay finding himself in a long time coming moment as he earned his first career DART Series win and his first open wheel win within the Canadian Motorsports Network since March 28th this year. Back, I believe it was in Formula 1, yes. It's been a rough season for the number 17 Hurricane E-Motorsports Honda. He did finish second at Alabama, but from there it was 17th at Long Beach. He didn't even run at Texas because of another commitment, 12th at Canadian Tire, and then 15th at Indianapolis. Every single one of those races he ran, he qualified on the podium and had that raw speed every single time. And he even won the Indy 250 pole, but Lady Luck always dealt him a bad hand. Obviously, it didn't help that he was coming off a heartbreaking championship loss in NASCAR Season 4 and that championship finale at Homestead, Miami. Nothing was going right at all this season, but he finally caught his big break in Milwaukee last week, becoming the DART Series' first ever Milwaukee Mile 125 winner. The big question now, with him still near the bottom of the top 10 in points, kind of, I think, I'd have to recall that perfectly, but anyways, we'll get to the points later on. Could last week, Jordy, have been the start of one of the biggest resurgences in our history, or is it a little too soon to say?
I mean, if it happened any later, I think you'd find, the potential for a resurgence to not be quite as present, to be quite honest. Like, if there's going to be a resurgence, it kind of had to start last week. And yeah, obviously, the 17 of Corbin MacAulay, he did what he had to do to get the job done. Again, you mentioned the string of bad luck that he's had over the last few weeks, but last week he was the guy who, he had the right strategy, he had the speed, he was able to kind of avoid anything else that happened. And really, probably the biggest compliment I can give him is that he turned it into an uneventful race. It has to be said.
At least early on, we certainly had a lot of interesting shenanigans going on, but then the rest of the way, it was pretty much just smooth sailing until the end, although, quite frankly, we still did have a yellow and checkered flag due to Ivan Reynolds going around with, I believe it was 3 laps to go. But anyways, with all that being said, let's take a look at the race results for the 2023 Milwaukee Mile 125, which certainly has made things interesting between every single little standings battle and everything that we have from drivers to rookies, manufacturers, all that blah, blah, blah. But here are the results. MacAulay had a rough qualifying session, but he surged to the front in no time after the first green flag. Several early cautions helped his case, and he took advantage with pit stops. Had there been maybe 10 to 15 more laps, he could have caught CD Mangrum's number 1 Nordic Aluminum BMW and finally given the Canadian Motorsports Network a record that still hasn't been achieved yet, lapping the whole field. We already saw that attempt happen earlier on with Charlie Sears at Long Beach, which unfortunately that one didn't work out either. But it looks like it's just not time yet for that record to be achieved. But anyways, Mangrum started third and finished second in what was a very consistent race for him. Andy Hurdle's number 7 519 eRacing Rolls-Royce rebounded nicely with a podium with a podium finish after a heartbreaking final lap, final turn crash at the Indy 250. Ty Higginbottom's number 97 U.S. Air Force Toyota also had a rough qualifying session, but he crawled his way up to a 4th place finish, falling just a little short of 2 podium finishes in a row. He and Hurdle had quite the battle for the 3rd position in those final couple laps. 2023 Indy 250 champion Darcy Ford continued his recent momentum with a fair top 5 finish. Jose Mercado's number 9 GTR Motorsports BMW remains consistent, but he just can't reach the grasp of a top 5 finish just yet, despite he's shown the pace for one every single race. It's just the luck hasn't been there. It's just, always about 1, 2, 3 positions short every single time so far. Mike Marini's number 12 True North Racing Audi had a good performance, and he even made an incredible save off turn 2 at one point. Hunter Young's number 77 Oge Weekend Speedway Chevrolet is another car with recent momentum, including a runner-up Indy 250 finish and 8th in last week's Milwaukee Mile 125. Jason Butler and Ivan Reynolds rounded out the top 10. Reynolds did have a very rough race with multiple crashes, including, again, being the result of a yellow and checkered finish, but he still came home with the top 10 finish. Not too shabby, although, yes, there were only 14 cars that participated. But anyways, we'll give him some solace. And although pole sitter and points leader Dylan Bahm crashed early, like I mentioned earlier as well, the term giving up was not in his dictionary, and he still came home with decent points, which, again, that's all he could do. Kyle Knoll, Mark Roulette, and Charlie Sears were all early DNFs due to crashes, and only 14 drivers, like I said, participated, as names like Jonathan Swainson, Patrick Hernandez, Caden Tufts, Michael Dimitrov, and the Cudmore brothers did not attend last week's race. You got any overall thoughts on what we saw of that Milwaukee Mile 125 one last time, Jordy?
As I say, after, the chaos of, say, the first 20, maybe 25 laps, and things started to kind of calm down a little bit. As I mentioned, it felt sort of uneventful for the most part after that. But I mean, it's sort of a track where, you see the rewards for consistency. So it's not a surprise to see guys like Mangrum, Hurdle, Higginbotham, and Ford right there in the top 5. They've been guys that, even though, Ford does have the victory, of course, but in the case of the other 3, they're guys that, they don't really get into trouble. They don't really go too crazy most of the time. But yeah, ultimately, they're the guys who just kind of find themselves in contention. And a track like Milwaukee, it will reward consistency. And last week is kind of case in point of all that.
Absolutely, and now we're going to take a look here at the championship point standings for the Canadian Motorsports Network DART Series Superstars, the Cars and Stars. Here are the points after 6 rounds. Dylan Bahm still holding the points lead, but it has noticeably shrunk due to his recent there was the DNF back in Indianapolis, again, the final turn, final lap shenanigans, and then again that 11th out of 14 driver's place finish at Milwaukee, of course. Before Milwaukee, it was a 55-point lead. Now it's 35. CD Mangrum continues to hold the runner-up position, and his recent consistency has him not even close to being out of contention at all. This season's not over yet. We're only about halfway through or so now. Still no wins yet, but one win could easily set him ablaze on someone like Dylan Bahm, especially with, I guess, again, this is DART, not NASCAR. I mean, of course, Mangrum does have the 2 seasons of NASCAR experience, and he's been taking advantage, too, on the ovals, especially here within the DART Series, so that has certainly helped, despite the difference between stock cars and open wheel, of course, but again, there's some similarities, some resemblances. Anyways, Darcy Ford drops from 3rd to 4th, and Andy Hurdle moves up, but nothing to panic about for Ford, as he still finished 5th last week. It's only 1 position. He's still in the hand, still within the battle here. Ty Higginbottom moves up, and so does last week's winner, Corbin MacAulay, of course. Charlie Sears takes a drop from 5th to 7th with yet another DNF last week. 35 points separate 1st and 2nd. 10 points separate 2nd and 3rd. There are battles just going on absolutely everywhere. If you look at the little arrow symbols on the side there, you can see there's been a bunch of position maneuvering back and forth as this season has gone on. And now we'll take a look here at the Rookie of the Year standings, which again, the 35-point gap between Bahm and Mangrum carries on here as well. They continue to hold firm in their conflict. Sears' recent DNFs continue to mire him from rejoining the battle, but his raw speed still has some time to do some wonders with 7 races remaining. Jose Mercado was not far behind, while Hunter Young and Kyle Knoll are going at it for the 5th position. And now we move on to the engine manufacturer standings, where Toyota just will not stop dominating. I mean, can you blame them with their drivers? I mean, literally, Dylan Bahm. 37 points separate them and Rolls-Royce. BMW and Chevrolet swap spots on the bottom end of the podium. Audi and Honda move up while Ford drops, and Vespa has started to gain some ground on the bottom feeders as now they are tied with Subaru and aren't too far behind Buick. And then finally, for this kind of final points battle or whatever that we have, again, we have 4 of them going on. For a series founded and operated in Canada, it's amazing how the United States is just shredding them. And no, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It is absolutely welcoming. And it just goes to show the insane diversity that we have here within the Canadian Motorsports Network, which is what we're always striving for. Obviously, 213 points separating the bordering countries. Jordy, driver points, rookie points, manufacturer points, Nations Cup. Just battles going on absolutely everywhere, and it looks like they're never going to stop anywhere.
And I mean, would you honestly want anything different?
Nope.
Like, if we were talking about just kind of one guy dominating everything, I think it wouldn't be quite as compelling to be here, to be quite honest. But as you say, there's things happening throughout the field. And again, you got your different disciplines where things are starting to maybe tighten up a little bit in places. Like even the Nations Cup, I think the gap held relatively steady compared to last week. I'd have to remember the numbers, but it could be, we're kind of officially into second half of the season as of tonight, or I guess halfway through tonight. But it'll be interesting to see how, again, everything progresses from this point. And now the guys are more familiar with one another. I think the expectations are there and they can be a little bit more firmly established, and that'll kind of give us a clearer path on where things are going to go.
Absolutely. So now we are now moving on from all of that, and we got to focus on tonight's race, of course. So we will look at the schedule graphic here very quickly. Finally, after 6 rounds of being kind of on a part 1, version 2, first half of the schedule graphics. Obviously, we can't fit all of them in one just because of how much information they provide. But finally, we're at the second half here. Of course, now you can see there's 13 races because remember the first 6 rounds where I kept saying, like, no, it's not 6 races only. We have more than that. We would not do that to our drivers. No, I should note again, the car engine power is wrong. It's actually minus 5%, not 7.5. But anyways, we're back at a road course for the first time since October 24th. Tonight's action takes us to the Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle in Michigan. Just actually, funny enough, we were talking about the Nations Cup. It is close to the border there between the United States and Canada. It's a 35-lap dash at one of the most wonky and enclosed circuits in all of America. We might as well give off some scenic views here, beginning with a fountain of all things. But actually, I think that's a lot better right there. But anyways, Belle Isle, it's a flat 2.35 mile, 3.78 kilometer circuit with 13 turns. The track hosted Formula One racing between 1982 and 1988 before giving reins to the CART series. In 2007, the race was given to America's top open wheel series, which again, for the 1 millionth time, we cannot name due to legal reasons, thanks to a certain company, and it's hosted Detroit ever since. This year in real life, the Detroit Grand Prix was moved to a circuit downtown at the Renaissance Center, but iRacing has not implemented that kind of a thing, so obviously we're using the regular good old 13-turn Belle Isle circuit, which quite frankly, our drivers will certainly prefer, knowing how tight the real life 2023 Detroit Grand Prix was in the streets of Detroit. Funny enough, Belle Isle, you could argue, is not even that much better, but at the same time, too, most drivers are probably more used to it. But quite frankly, this is yet again another track being run at for the first time in DART Series history. If we were to estimate potential contenders based on track type and how the current season has gone, it's all obvious on paper, but we've seen how road course races have played out so far. Alabama was not exactly a tight track, but its elevation changes and high-speed corners gave way to many DNFs and lap traffic. Long Beach is probably the best comparison to Belle Isle, as only 2 cars finished on the lead lap. And there's no doubt we're probably going to get a similar situation here tonight, but again, though, anything's possible knowing how this season has gone. Dylan Canadian Tire saw improvements, but many good drivers still face some issues, including in particular last week's winner Corbin MacAulay at Milwaukee. Dylan Bahm and Charlie Sears will more than likely be ready to strike once more, but it'll be a matter of if they can survive together or not. To be fair, they did a Canadian Tire, kind of towards the final lap anyways. MacAulay knows he's not the best with the Dollar IR01s, especially on road courses, but a little more patience, considering his raw pace, plus some recent momentum, could do wonders. And then there's Andy Hurdle and CD Mangrum, who are consistent on the road courses, but notably, Hurdle hasn't run at one since Long Beach over a month ago. So I'm forgetting that there's some term I'm trying to think of, but I absolutely cannot, stale maybe or something. I don't know. It's been a while for him, so I think rusty is the term I'm kind of looking for there. But again, considering some of the recent races that he has run, which again have been on ovals, not road courses, still, it should be no problem with him. We all know about Andy Hurdle and how he can be on the road courses, so it probably shouldn't be that big of a deal. And quite frankly, I'm looking at the practice times right now, and he's literally in the third position out of, I believe it's 14 cars, again, just like Milwaukee, that'll be competing in tonight's race. But again, Jordy, there's so much to consider, especially with, again, as I said, 4 different points battles going on between drivers, rookies, manufacturers, and the Nations Cup, all underway at the same time. And just before we get into the 10-minute qualifying session, again, that's the qualifying format for the road courses. Finally, it's been a couple weeks since we had one of these. Jordy, it's time for a ride-along.
Let's go. Let's lose ourselves in this one as we come through turn 14. It's a very short approach to turn 1, as you can see here. Then you're right into 2. And now you're on to the longest true straightaway here on this Belle Isle kind of combination street and road circuit, as you were talking about. A lot of asphalt and some concrete, as you'll see later as we come through turn 3. This kind of begins more of a technical part of the circuit if you go through 3 through 6. As you see, not a whole lot of runway between each of the turns. A little bit of a climb here up into 6. Now you get to run it out a little bit here. Get to open up the throttle. You'll get heavy into 6th gear here, but it won't be too long before you're turning into 7. And this begins another kind of technical part of the circuit here, as we'll get into effectively a triple left-hander. That was your first one, 8. Now this is a double, 9 and 10. Then it's super quick into 11, pretty tight. Oh, just barely got to get to the wall. Mini straight here into turn 12. And again, a mini approach, but as you hit the throttle on 13, this is pretty much where you begin your approach to the line. As you see pit lane off to the right, and here's your start finish line, and there's your 1 lap of Belle Isle.
And now I finally realized it's actually 14 turns, so not 13, so I had another little another fun fact right there for these drivers. Hey, you got one more turn to get to the finish line, so yippee on that one. But with all that being said, it's time to get to qualifying.
Yeah, this is, I know Jason Butler was telling me last week, once I confirmed the configuration, this is the configuration where, to clean up the terminology a little bit, you'll be on the edge of your seat, certainly, but I think kind of Detroit's own Eminem put it best. There's going to be some sweaty palms, weak knees, heavy arms as we get through this Belle Isle circuit. Potentially vomit on the sweater by the end, but we'll have to see.
What about Mama's spaghetti?
You have to wonder how, far ahead of time they ate, so I didn't want to get that far along, but yes, that would have been the next point.
So the 10-minute qualifying officially underway here, and why not? We might as well go back to the guy who finally ended up getting the job done last week. First career DART Series victory, none other than number 17, Honda, Corbin MacAulay.
Indeed so. As you say, he's the guy who does have the momentum now, finally, with a win under his belt here, but you kind of alluded to him not necessarily being in favor with the street circuits per se. It'll be, again, curious to see how he's able to navigate this one. Not quite as tight as Long Beach, it has to be said, but still plenty of opportunities for things to go amiss here, as there might have even been a little slip out of that turn. But Yeah, just seeing how the handling is going to go as he begins a flyer here. And we may as well just stay on board for it, honestly.
Oh my god, yeah, he definitely got the wall right there coming out of the previous corner. It looked like he clipped something. The curb, I believe. Yeah, it was a curb, I believe. Oh, man. As I was saying.
You were just predicting the future, it would appear. And he's just going to dive out of the way of our series leader.
And then we just transition right over to the guy passing him. That's the number 3 SimLeaguePro.com Team 44 Racing Toyota of course, your points leader, Dylan Bahm. Again, points leader, 3 wins within 6 races. He's won half. Yes, mathematically, that means half of them.
Hooray! Oh, even he goes a little slidey.
And you know what? I'm just going to say this right now, too. It just goes to show this kind of stuff that happens here. It means even some of the top guys tend to struggle as well. I mean, we've been kind of seeing that all season, quite frankly, anyways. Like, especially with MacAulay, too, knowing, I talked to him multiple times about, we've talked multiple times about his confidence here on the road courses and the street circuits, and it's been very on and off. Had a lot of bad luck, especially with lap traffic as well. And then you got guys like Charlie Sears and Dylan Bahm kind of getting together, especially Sears. Been a lot of mistakes within the past couple of weeks, which that certainly does not. Oh my God!
Oh,
I keep predicting everything. But what I was gonna say.
No, go ahead.
What I was gonna say was, even though Sears has made even though there's been a lot of mistakes, a lot of bad luck, it does not depict at all about his talent. Because quite frankly, he's the only driver in Canadian Motorsports Network and Dart Series history ever, like the only driver ever, only current driver with a pro iRacing license, and he literally races in a pro series. So, again, the luck hasn't been great on this end of his iRacing career. But, again, everything that's been happening with him recently, it does not at all depict the skills that he has, the talent that he has, and again, it's just a matter of trying to find a little bit more good luck, and he can still be in the fight for the Greg Moore Cup.
And just to kind of tack on to that pro license point you just made, that series that you were mentioning that he competes in, it was just at Belle Isle a couple of weeks ago. So there's a little bit of familiarity on the side of the 32 potentially here as well. As we mentioned, this is our first time at Belle Isle in any series, obviously. But again, Sears was just here a few weeks back in his other pro series, and we'll have to see how that experience serves him here. It'll be a little bit different in that it'll be a rolling start compared to the standing start they had in the other series. But yeah, we'll see how the 32 can navigate the chaos.
Absolutely, as he currently holds the fastest lap so far through qualifying. We are now officially halfway through. Only 7 drivers have have gotten laps in so far. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, it's still 14 drivers. So Sears first, Andy Hurdle is in second. Bahm moves himself up to third. Actually, no, never mind, as I was saying. So I'm talking about drivers. So there was MacAulay and bad luck, and he ends up crashing. And then I'm talking about Charlie Sears, and he has a moment. There was Dylan Bahm with a moment. And then I'm talking about drivers in certain positions, and then all of a sudden Andy Hurdle decides to screw everything. Oh, what are we in for tonight, Jordy?
Hopefully excitement.
Yeah, I mean, you were alluding earlier to how, I guess, quote-unquote, not entertaining, at least the second half of last week's race was. I mean, we had all the shenanigans for like first 20, 30 laps or so, and then after that it was just kind of making it all the way to the end, and it was all about strategies, pit stops, and all that, blah, blah, blah. And then Hurdle gets jumped once again as Charlie Sears right up to the top, again with a 108.2 versus Hurdle's 109.1. Jeez, that is... Whew.
Yeah, and I think, was Hurdle about to... Oh, yeah, he heads into pit lane instead of completing the lap. I wonder if he had something go on in that kind of triple left section that I was talking about earlier, turns 8, 9, and 10, just kind of abandoning ship.
Might as well talk about here, as we're still on the number 7 Rolls Royce of Andy Hurdle, where man, oh man, has his open wheel. I mean, we all know about his open wheel, or at least we know about his open wheel resume ever since he's first joined the Canadian Motorsports Network. I mean, so far his finishes this season, like, the only number that I see here out of all 5 races he's participated in so far, only one race has a number lower than the top 10, which was, of course, at Indianapolis when he started 17th, which was last, and he then made it all the way up to the front, and then there was that heartbreak in the final turn on the final lap. But that's the only number below 10th that I see on here, because in every other race at Barber, he started 3rd, finished 4th, Long Beach, 4th to 2nd, Texas was 2nd to 3rd, Indianapolis a bit of an exception, 17th to 6th, and then Milwaukee, 7th to 3rd. His consistency right there has been proving itself, and it's no wonder he still remains towards the top of the standings, although, quite frankly, if he did manage to show up to, again, what was that one race that he... Yeah, it was Canadian Tire that he didn't show up to. I would say if he did show up to Canadian Tire, he probably would be higher up in the points right there, because right now he is 3rd. But I would argue he'd probably be up there in 2nd over Mangrum and even be a little bit closer to Bahm there had he showed up. But regardless of that, he's here tonight, and he's still hoping to capitalize on maybe a little bit more bad luck at a Dylan Bahm that the number 3 has had recently, although when I say that, ironically, 2 weeks ago, he was a part of that bad luck.
He was, and again, the other thing that you have to remember about Hurdle is that, yeah, that one race that he wasn't here for, in about a month and a half, that's going to be dropped from his point total anyway. So you're dropping 0 for not being there. You know, yes. Not a gigantic deal. So whereas guys like, you know, Mangrum ahead of him, for instance, he'll be dropping one of those solid finishes that he's had so far. So there will be definitely a bit of a shakeup there, unless Mangrum misses a race between now and the end as well. But, you know, there are opportunities to make things happen for Andy Hurdle. It's just a matter of capitalizing on those opportunities. And, you know, in his case, he'll need at least 1 victory, maybe 2, to get himself firmly entrenched in the conversation.
And I was speaking of CD Mangrum earlier. If I go to his statistics right here, the consistency that he's even had has been phenomenal as well. He might be, unless there could be maybe 2 or 3 drivers in this category, but I know Mangrum for sure. He might only be the only one. I was mentioning earlier about Andy Hurdle's statistics between starting and finishing. He is a driver that has not had a single qualifying result or finishing result below 10th. I mean, 5th and 3rd at Barber, 6th and 4th at Long Beach, 1st and 8th at Texas, 5th and 3rd at Canadian Tire, 6th and 4th in the Indy 250, and then 3rd and 2nd in Milwaukee. And I'm just going to say for this guy, he at this point could be argued to be overdue for a win this season, and he gets in the wall as I'm saying that. But anyways, moving on. And he gets in the wall twice, and then a 3rd time.
Just for good measure.
Yeah, why the heck not? But I was saying there too, though, like, you hear those numbers, not single qualifying or finishing result below 10th. This guy has been absolutely consistent. It's no wonder that he is 2nd in points, and because of that, it's been able to help him perfectly in being able to stay close behind Dylan Bahm. And he and Hurdle are kind of in that same area, except the only other thing is, as I mentioned, Andy Hurdle missed a race. Mangrum has shown up to every single one so far, which is certainly going to help him. And Jordy, but then again, Jordy, you did allude to the drop in your worst finish of the season come the end of the season, so we'll see about that when the time comes to figure all that out. There's Ty Higginbottom in the 6th position. He has had, I guess I could say, a decent season so far. He did kind of start rough with finishes of 8th and 11th, which did include a disconnection at Long Beach. But ever since, he's finished 2nd, 8th, 3rd, and 4th. Came very close to 2 podium finishes in a row between Indy and Milwaukee. But nothing to be ashamed of. He is 5th in points, still well in the battle right there as, wait a second. Okay, no, I was reading that number wrong, so never mind. Yes, he is still there in the 5th position. Again, still right up there with some other guys, definitely going for the 2nd position, unsure of maybe the championship just yet. Again, though, unless Dylan Bahm ends up going through a lot more bad luck. But with all that being said, qualifying has come to an end, and I guess we're technically spoiling the starting grid right now, but I guess we'll just kind of get away from that very quickly and just say no surprise at who's at the top of the board. Charlie Sears.
Yeah, I'm not, as you say, I'm not 100% surprised by that either. Again, just the sheer dominance from Long Beach is firmly entrenched in my mind. And again, the familiarity of having done Belle Isle just a couple of weeks ago in his other series where he's running as a pro, that's there. All that track prep is still very much in play. Again, not a surprise at all to see him on pole. And, you know, I'd assume he maintained a very similar gap to what we were looking at before. I believe it was almost a second between himself and Andy Hurdle. We'll see the times once we get to the starting grid, of course. But if that's any kind of indicator for how things are going to go, we could be in for another runaway.
Absolutely. So we do have the grid camera, but there's no sign of any drivers lining up. Unless, okay, nope, it's on straightaway. I was wondering that.
I mean, my next guess was going to be whether or not they were waiting for their friend in race control to give them directions, whoever that would be.
And so, with all that being said, I am going to go through race control, give these guys a little bit of a quick message, and give them the most famous words in motorsports so they can get these Dallara IRL1 engines fired up, and we can get round 7 of 13 of the Canadian Motorsports Network DART Series on iRacing, 2nd season underway here at Belle Isle in Michigan. It is the first annual, the 2023 Detroit Grand Prix. We'll be back.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
And so unfortunately, I do not have access. I actually never had access to the race control voice chat that entire time. So one of our drivers, you just heard right, you may have heard right there, one of our drivers actually giving the command. But anyways, it's done. That's all that matters. So we have one full lap of pacing here to get through the starting grid. So let's go ahead and do that. That's the button to go with. Yes, so here we are with the starting grid for the 2023 Detroit Grand Prix. And why on earth are we going green? Never mind. We are going green. The flag is waving and away we go. That is not what we were all expecting, and it certainly sounded like a lot of drivers through... Sounds like a lot of drivers certainly weren't expecting that. But we're racing, Jordy.
Yeah. We very much are racing, and very, I'd say, kind of eventful start with everyone kind of getting caught out. Certainly, again, was not anyone's intent, as I thought there might have been a little tap on the wall. There, couldn't quite see who it was, but yeah, no wasting time. Let's just launch right into it, as old Chucky looks like he's trying to.
And I think that the benefit of these YouTube live streams is that you can go back and actually check the starting grid through the ticker that we had on earlier. I think you should be able to, at least for the top 10. But yes, it was Charlie Sears starting on the pole. And I believe it was Andy Hurdle in second. So again, those two keeping their positions as per usual. Charlie Sears leading the way by about 2 seconds as we reach lap 2 of 35 in the Detroit Grand Prix. A little bit of close proximity between second and fourth, between Hurdle, Mangrum, MacAulay, and Dylan Bahm. And then Bahm,
but also an early retirement.
Yes, that too. Is Jason Butler in trouble? He's in his pit box. I think Jose Mercado also has gotten caught up in something, or he's just down pit road for some reason. But trouble for the number 10 of Jason Butler early on in this one. Not at all what we like to see, not what he certainly wanted to see right there. So we're going to go ahead and quickly take a look at what just happened. Oh boy.
Yeah, let's get a closer look. Here looks like, just coming down that secondary straight. Just misses the entry point. And collects a couple guys around him for good measure.
Not at all the start that Jason Butler wanted right there, as he will remain in his pit box. Meanwhile, Charlie Sears still on lap 2, increasing his lead to over 2.5 seconds. But then would you look at it, between second and fourth, these guys are going at it almost as if like it's a super speedway pack race.
2 and 5. Ooh. This is very enjoyable here. And
man,
I think Mangrum may have had a little tap, and Butler's not just staying in the pit lane. He's just confirmed to us that he is out of the first retirement as Bahm goes into the wall.
Oh, man.
I think that might have been the same spot.
And then for good measure, oh my gosh.
Yeah, definitely not nursing that one back into pit lane. So that's presumably our series leader out as well.
And for the third race in a row, I believe it'd be the third race in a row, that is yet something else for the number 3 of Dylan Bahm, as the 17 nearly had a moment himself, locking up the front brakes. But again, Indianapolis, final lap, final turn crash. And then in Milwaukee, he did crash early, still managed to finish the race, but in 11th. And now Dylan Bahm going to be in his pit box with that left front tire and the front wing. There's Jose Mercado just coming out of his pit box right there after receiving a little bit of damage, I believe, in the early Jason Butler incident. But wow.
Yeah, it just seemed like, things were going semi-good before, but everything that we're seeing is just kind of self-inflicted right now. Honestly, it's not unlike what we saw at Long Beach at times earlier this year. And Detroit, it has to be said, this Belle Isle circuit again, it does change from asphalt to concrete surfaces here in the game as well. So could prove to be a little more slippery and a little more dicey in places as MacAulay gets another touch on the wall coming out of that turn, out of turn 6.
So a lot of early trouble here. Jason Butler crashing out. Dylan Bahm also. Oh, CD Mangrum!
And, man, that is number 2 in the series for points. He's facing in the wrong direction with some shrapnel there off to the side.
And I think it was the 17 that also might have been collecting that a little bit there. We're going to have to look back at that one. But, wow, that's the top 2 in points crashing out.
Yeah,
there's the 17
headed
pit row.
into pit lane.
What in the world?
Yeah, just early carnage here, honestly.
So we'll now have to take a look at what on earth happened with Mangrum. Yeah, just locked out the brakes. Then, 17 right into the right rear. Andy Hurdle lucky enough to slow down much better right there as MacAulay in his pit box at the moment. Charlie Sears leading the way by nearly 10 seconds over Andy Hurdle. 8 cars, 8 of, I guess technically now 12 remaining in this race left on the lead lap. Daniel Cudmore will be the final car on the lead lap. And number 2, Alpha Flow. Winston Racing Group Ford, also sponsored by Archie Design, Cudmore Design, and Darcy Allen PR. Jose Mercado still in this race, though, 2 laps down. Marco Letta at 1 lap down. He's in his pit box now. Dylan Bahm and Jason Butler. Dylan Bahm looks to join Jason Butler as the second DNF of the race. Michael Dimitrov in his box as well at 4 laps down. I think Ouellette might have had some early trouble there in the background during the start. I don't know what happened with Dimitrov. There's another car coming down the pit lane. I can't tell who that is, though.
I was going to say, was that
Mercado
Mercado again?
That's Mercado coming down the pit lane again on lap 6 of 35. Meanwhile, again, as long as Charlie Sears is patient and can get through this whole race, as long as that's the case, then this will be his race. But if it's not, then Andy Hurdle and Ty Higginbottom are only separated by, I think that's about 2 seconds if I can tell. Kyle Knoll also making his way down the pit lane. Jose Mercado back out on the track. Daniel Cudmore moves up into the 7th position. Oh, whoa. Hunter Young goes around. Can't tell.
Someone was coming up fast.
Can't exactly tell where that is. It looks like, yeah, his car is certainly broken with whatever on earth just happened there. Another car having trouble.
Yeah, let's get another look at this here. Yeah, it looks like he's just coming through. Yeah, that's turns 1 and 2 there. So he's just, wow.
Oh, man. That was Daniel Cudmore.
Yeah, he was just amping up to get onto that long straight that connects turns 2 and 3. But, yeah, just cut it a little too tight through 2, it looks like. And, yeah, that kind of sent him careening into the wall.
So that's Corbin MacAulay, Hunter Young, Jose Mercado, CD Mangrum, Dylan Bahm, and Jason Butler. That's almost half the field that's been involved in some form of an incident. Only a couple of those names that I mentioned actually did, receive a ton of damage, like into the wall hard. A couple other guys was just a little bit of contact, maybe scraping the wall or kind of tapping another car that would have went around, but at this point, yeah, it's pretty much a race of survival on your own. It's as if everyone's trying to do it's like with Formula 1 and in Q3 where you're trying to get the fastest lap as possible on the soft tires, the soft compound, but you're just going really hard at it.
Yeah, and I wonder, again, with the multiple tire compounds being required for a street circuit, I wonder if the harder option might have been kind of the better option, at least to start. Like, yeah, the softs have the grip. I don't know if we're still in kind of dyslexic mode with the tire charts there or not, but you know, again, we've seen multiple kind of self-inflicted wounds here over the course of, you know, this first quarter or first third of the race. So I have to wonder if things are just a little bit more slippery than the guys anticipated.
So yes, that is a friendly reminder that we should give to everyone. You do see the tire compound part of the graphic right there. Medium tire, if you see the yellow medium compound, that is correct. But because of an apparent iRacing visual glitch that we've had to deal with for weeks on end, this whole season, quite frankly, of the DART Series Season 2, the soft compound, if you see, like Andy Hurdle, for example, it says he's on the softs, but the visual glitch, with this glitch, it actually means he's on the hards. So everyone you see on the soft compound is actually on the hard compound. So if it shows anyone with the hard compound, they're actually on the soft compound. So you kind of have to flip them around. But with the mediums, you're just fine. Mediums, it's accurate. It is absolutely accurate. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Yikes.
Oh, okay, we got a sneak peek right there. Oh, this is not going to be a good look. Last week's winner, Milwaukee Mile 125. Oh, man!
Ooh. Yeah, that's just, I think, where you're amping up to get toward the start-finish line. I think that's pit lane that he's passing. And just, oh. Yeah, just, I don't know if he just cut a curb there or what happened. Well, I mean, we know the end product, obviously. Yeah, just kind of missed the entry point almost. Oof.
I'm flabbergasted.
Yeah, that is that has to be one of the heavier hits we've seen in any of our series to this point, and that counts the cars that have gone airborne.
Yeah, again, the flashbacks to that Texas finish, huh?
Well, I mean, at least the race was over when that happened.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
this is just... Yeah, you kind of called it a survival test at this point. I'd say you're probably not far off on that, to be quite honest. And yeah, it was actually, I misspoke before. It was out of turn 11, it looked like.
Yeah, you heard it right there. That's why we were silent for so long.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what I suspected. It's just kind of missed the breaking points, and yeah, I mean, not much left to be said after that.
We are only 11 of 35 laps in, and there's 4 cars on the lead lap.
And being told
three,
5 overall running.
And then there's 3 out. There's the 4 lead lap cars. There's a car 1 lap down, 3 laps down. McAuley's going to be way more than that later on, though. 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, my. Okay, I had expectations for this race, but yet I still underestimated it.
Yeah, I think, like, the first lap or so was encouraging. Then everything just kind of went to hell after that.
And I'm just waiting for Charlie Sears to graze the wall at some point.
Don't say that.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying I'm not anticipating. I'm not saying I want it. But I'm about that.
But I was going to say, we have a way of speaking these things into existence. That's the problem. Although, did somebody just try and make their way back out on track?
I think that was Mark Ouellette.
Hey, I mean, seeing the carnage around him, get to the checkered flag, get yourself some decent points. Why not?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. The number 80 Koopas Racing, Little Res Q, Animal Shelter, and Sanctuary Chevrolet. That was definitely a mouthful right there, but if I go and take a look at his statistics for him as a rookie here within the Canadian Motorsports Network and the DART Series, it certainly hasn't been the most favorable rookie season for him so far, but I mean, hey, he's still... Actually, never mind, he's disconnected every single... Oh, man.
Well, I think
Please, finish this one!
In the Koopas Racing spirit...
Oh, no!
You might need one of those star power boxes for the next 20 laps.
Mark, for the sake of reptiles, take every corner slow. Please.
It is a bit of a slippery, slidey, snaky circuit, so the reptile comparison makes sense.
And then he's got Andy Hurdle behind him. Oh, boy.
Hey, just, get him on a straight, get it clean, or do that.
That was definitely the safest route. Good on him.
Yep.
I'm seeing here in the chat, we got a good old Steven Ellison here. I know him. I've known him for a couple months here. He does coverage of hockey and racing, so appreciate you popping on. I certainly wasn't expecting to see your name come through, but we appreciate everyone that does tune into these live productions, these broadcasts for the Canadian Motorsports Network, and of course the DART Series here for Season 2, the first ever one on iRacing, first ever DART one, not NASCAR one, obviously. But then we just go back to good old regular things, and this guy again, I am praying that he does not graze a wall again.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like there isn't a lot of room to work out there now with, half the field plus having some sort of an issue.
So again, only 4 cars left on the lead lap. Daniel Cudmore at 1 lap down. Corbin MacAulay continuing to drop down. Jose Mercado's going to take advantage here. Hunter, let's just toggle the pit stop times. Mark Roulette on pit road. Hunter Young and CD Mangrum trying to set records, which is absolutely tragic to say.
Yeah, but not entirely surprising either. Again, if they can figure out a way to get back on track, get themselves a few more laps in, grab themselves a position or two, grab a point or two, away you go.
Might as well maybe give some time here to the 4th place driver in Mike Marini, the number 12 True North Racing Audi, for his statistics so far. If I can go ahead and grab them here very quickly. He hasn't had a race yet where he's finished outside the top 10. He hasn't DNF'd once. Finishes as 7th, 7th, 10th, 5th, 10th, and 7th. And again, to this guy... what I can know for sure on the NASCAR side, he's won at a he's every single one of his wins in the NASCAR series is either 3 or 4 career wins. You would know that for sure, Jordy. It's all of them have come on the road courses. So now
in NASCAR, it's 2 wins specifically in terms of actual in-race competition, both at Canadian Tire. Although he did grab an all-star race at the Indy Roval in Season 2 as well.
See, I jumped the number a little bit right there. Apologies for that. But yes, on the road course side, certainly he has shown success on his open wheel road course resume, however you want to put it here within the Canadian Motorsports Network. But yes, quite frankly too, he hasn't qualified any worse than 9th so far either. So it's been a pretty good season for his standards. And in the standings right now, he is currently, the thing is though, he's only in the 10th position, but again, it's probably a matter of bonus points, too, because, again, guys like Dylan Bahm, CD Mangrum, Andy Hurdle, Darcy Ford, Corbin MacAulay, and Charlie Sears have all taken perfect advantage of some of those extra points. Marini's been consistent, but only 1 top 5, and, again, though, against that much of a more competitive crop of drivers ahead of him in points and in most results here so far this season, he's up there, but he's not quite up there.
Yeah, he's done the most important thing, though, which is stay out of trouble as he's about to head into pit lane.
And that's exactly what he needs to keep doing. And everyone else, too.
I mean, how many times have we said it? It's finish first. First, you got to finish. Sounds like a broken record at this point, but look at how many people are so many laps down already. Tell me that point isn't important.
So now it's only the podium drivers remaining on the lead lap here thus far. Charlie Sears just doing what he did at Long Beach and absolutely destroying everyone, also praying to the racing gods that nothing happens to him. He is 35 or almost 35 seconds ahead of Andy Hurdle, almost 40 ahead of Ty Higginbottom. Higginbottom now making his way down pit road, still waiting on Sears and Hurdle to also do the same as the green flag pit window continues here. Just let me do the quick math here. Yes, we're pretty much halfway through the 2023 Detroit Grand Prix here at Belle Isle, the first annual one within the Canadian Motorsports Network, first ever one that we've ever done. That's literally what that means. So yeah, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's, I think, only 8 cars actually remaining on the track here on lap 18. Higginbottom now a lap down. Again, Sears and Hurdle still have yet to come down pit road. I wonder if Hurdle will maybe? We'll see if that happens.
Well, again, he started on the hard tire. I don't know what everyone else was on.
That could be an interesting
reference
strategy.
Point-wise. Might be able to stay out a little bit longer, but we'll see what he does. He's coming up to pit lane here shortly.
Not this lap.
And he stays out.
So not this lap. So again, almost 36 seconds. Sears over Hurdle. Higginbottom made his way up pit road just fine. Number 97 United States Air Force Toyota. Marini there in fourth, still one lap down. Daniel Cudmore now 2 laps down, looking for a top 5 finish. If we might as well shout him out here a little bit. Give me a second to actually pull him up here, because he did not show up to Milwaukee. I had the Milwaukee results right there. I probably should have the points, though, if I want to get everyone's statistics. But Daniel Cudmore, it's been a strange campaign for him so far. He's only qualified in the top. He's only qualified in the top 10 twice out of 5 starts that he's made so far. But he's finished in the top 10 every single one, and he's actually there's only one race where he finished worse than 7th, and he just made his way into pit road right there. And he actually, yes, he did miss Milwaukee, but from his most recent start, which was the Indy 250, which again was a race that he finished runner-up in both in the first and second annual Indy 250s, coming off a top 5 in the Indy 250 this season. So just trying to continue that momentum the best he can. Currently in the points standings, he is 9th, about 4 points ahead of Mike Marini, and I think that's 8 behind Jose Mercado in 8th. So not too shabby for him.
Again, he's a guy that, how many times have we talked about this with the number 2 as well, that he's a guy who stays out of trouble. He's a guy who tends to be pretty conservative out on the track, just kind of finds himself in opportune situations toward the very end. Not necessarily the guy you're thinking about at the top of the board, but he's a guy who will be there. He'll make his contributions, he'll get his points, and he will find a way to be a factor as the season progresses, whether it's toward the top of the pack or the middle. He's a guy that's, I say, while conservative on track, don't mistake that for not being competitive.
Absolutely, as we got a couple fans here a couple Charlie Sears fans here in the chat here on lap 20 out of 35, and Steven saying he's spotting Charlie. If that's actually the case, then that's a cool fun fact.
Getting to guide him for a bit of a joyride here.
Yeah, pretty much. And if it is the case, then probably telling him, for the love of God, don't take any corner like a space shuttle. Yeah,
just keep her between the walls, and yeah, it's pretty much game, set, and match from that point.
So Sears leading the way by over 40 and a half seconds, or now it's 41, almost 41 and a half. Andy Hurdle still in the second position. If we look at laps since last pit for some of these guys, Sears and Hurdle still have yet to come down. Meanwhile, Higginbottom and Marini already have. And then everyone else kind of just... Okay, so I'm getting word right there that apparently a certain driver's engine exploded while in his pit box. Why don't we go to the pit stop times? Why is the 17 not even showing up?
Maybe the exploding engine took him out of that equation.
Or that, actually, yeah, I had a bit of a brain fart right there, so,
Well...
You still got Hunter Young and CD Mangrum.
You do, and I didn't realize that Dan Cudmore had come up on something either. He's coming up on a 3-minute stop now. The others are, well, Mangrum's in the 20-minute range now. Trying to get some kind of repairs done.
I don't know. He's just been in there. Looks like no incident happened. I don't know. Was he like taking a break or something? Something child-related, or... I don't know.
We did see him get spun around pretty early, pretty hard contact with a wall. If you look back at him on pit lane, he was missing that front right.
And of all things to try and remember, that's the one thing I can't for some reason. What is wrong with me?
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily a thing to talk out on air, but just kind of focus on what's happening in front of you. As now Charlie Sears is in front of Jose Mercado once again, putting him yet another lap down. As Sears finally ducks into pit lane.
There we go. So Andy Hurdle, wonder if he might try. Oh, wow. He almost took the corner very badly right there. Lucky that his brakes.
5 into 6.
Lucky that his brakes worked that time. So Sears makes his way down the pit lane, and all he can really hope here is that he doesn't get a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the only thing that would stop him, really, and look at how quick that stop was.
6.17 seconds. Yeah, he's pretty much on his way to... I would argue he's pretty much on his way to victory, although saying that might have literally just jinxed him right there. But anyways, we will just hope for the best.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it didn't do a whole lot for Andy Hurdle in terms of taking that gap down. Like, yeah, he was stationary for that time, but obviously pole sitter right at the end of pit lane, pretty quick getaway. Basically forgot the pace car was there, as always. But, yeah, I mean, Sears, that is clear track pretty much all 4 sides of him.
Daniel Cudmore still in his pit box. Jose Mercado was taking advantage, and would you look at that, the number 9. I said earlier he still hasn't been able to grasp a top 5 finish yet this season. Could this finally be his night to finally get that? Again, it's been zero. It's in the top 10s he's gotten 1 in every single race, but can he finally add a 1 to that top 5 category?
I mean, it feels like it's just a matter of keeping it on the track for him to make that happen. It feels kind of academic otherwise, but we've seen a lot of strange things go down tonight.
And I think we might have a couple DNF updates right here. It looks like Kyle Knoll and Mark Ouellette are now out of the race. So they join MacAulay, Dylan Bahm, Michael Dimitrov, and Jason Butler as DNFers. And with all that being said, only 8 of 14 cars remain in this one. Did something just happen to the 77? Yup.
Yeah, that's second time around for him. And yeah, shout out to Mike Marini, able to get out of the way there. As yeah, you see him he was kind of sideways there. Anyway, it didn't look like he was super straight per se. little bit of a skew going.
So Charlie's, jeez, throat issue still going here. I'm trying to do the best I can with my voice, but 11 laps to go in the 2023 Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle. Charlie Sears leading the way by almost 24 seconds. I mean, Andy Hurdle still has yet to come down pit road. Although I wonder if there might be an argument. Although I wonder if there might be an argument that he might not. Well, actually, he kind of has to, anyways.
For the tire change.
We'll pretend that never happened. Anyways, Ty Higginbottom making his way past Hunter Young. About almost, Sears is, you look down this straightaway, yep. Higginbottom just entering through that corner right there, and then here comes Charlie Sears to try and put the number 97 a lap down. It's almost an exact repeat of Long Beach here if it does end up going that route, because remember, Long Beach, Sears lapped the whole field except for Andy Hurdle. Sears is just a couple seconds away here from lapping Higginbottom, and we're going to be in a similar Long Beach situation, which we have trouble again for Hunter Young for like the third or fourth or fifth time or whatever time it may be in this race, and he's still driving a little sideways there. But again, remember, it's like Andy Hurdle still has to come down pit road and make that, he still has to make that tire change. So it's going to be another close one, but almost every attempt that we've had here where a driver has been close to lapping the whole field, they've always fallen that one position short. 10 laps to go in this one, though. When Hurdle does come to pit road, who knows? We'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, Hurdle's been lucky to avoid any kind of damage so far. Obviously, that's helped him get a bit of a longer run out of these tires than maybe anyone else would have expected. Although, was that Higginbottom that he just passed?
Yes, Higginbottom just let him pass.
And because it was happening around pit road, I wasn't sure if maybe they'd somehow caught up to Hurdle in that time. But now the chase is on here.
And the thing is, too, with Hurdle not yet coming down pit road, Sears is about half a lap away. So, again, 30 seconds separating them. If Hurdle comes down whenever Hurdle does come down pit road, man, I
think it was about, if I recall from Sears pit stop, it was about 10 or 11 seconds of time on the road that was lost. So Hurdle would effectively give that time back to the 32. And that just makes things that little bit, tighter is absolutely the wrong word. But, I don't know, compelling in this case? Something to watch at the very least.
Yes, something to certainly watch. As Daniel Cudmore, we were witnessing him for many laps there stuck in his pit box, but finally he's come back out in the 6th position. Jose Mercado still hanging firm in 5th, looking for that long overdue first top 5 finish of the season. He's going to have to get around Hunter Young here through this very tight corner right there. That is turn...
That's 8.
That's 8. Okay, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, that was 9, 10. This is 11 that he's coming through. Again, just kind of rapid fire that particular section.
So 8 laps to go for the number 32. I'll be more specific here. The number 32, 499 Racing Chevrolet. Still waiting on Andy Hurdle to finally make that tire change. Ty Higginbottom still holding firm in the 3rd position. Mike Marini in 4th. I would say this is more than likely going to be the finishing order that we're seeing right here, unless an absolute catastrophe happens. So,
and I mean, we've been there a couple times. So don't rule anything out yet. Obviously, not over till it's over, right?
And again, I'm looking at the statistics of Charlie Sears so far this season. I mean, it's been very complicated with him. He's gotten 3 poles within 6 starts so far. Fell short of the pole in Milwaukee as well. That could have been 4 and 6. But anyways, pole at Barber, he crashed out. Long Beach, he won the pole and he dominated the whole thing. He almost led the whole thing. Texas, he started 7th, but he crashed out in that lap 1. I guess you could even argue not even a lap 1 incident. It was right at the first green flag. Yeah. And then Canadian Tire, he got the pole, and then he fought hard with Dylan Bahm the whole race, and then a mistake about halfway through the final lap cost him. Still managed to finish 2nd. At the Indy 250, qualified 9th, but made his way up and had the speed and the pace to challenge for the win. But unfortunately, an incident on the final lap coming off turn 2. He still finished 9th, but not ideal for him. Started 2nd at Milwaukee, and then an early crash, of course, with Dylan Bahm. So again, he's disconnected. Out of these six races so far, he's disconnected in half of them. And he's won one of them, finished 2nd in the other, and then there was that thing that happened in Indianapolis. So again, right now, like based on his overall pace so far this season, if you don't include any of the bad luck, he probably would very well have maybe 2, 3, maybe even 4 wins this season, but he only has 1. So he'll be looking to add to that here with 6 laps to go in the first annual Detroit Grand Prix. Again, still, anything could still happen. And oh my.
No, that's pit lane, though.
Yes, yes, but could this be it?
Well, let's just see. Where's Sears on track? That looks like
Nope,
6
that's going to be it.
7. That
maybe.
Nope. Oh, it is.
Oh my.
He's right there.
And if we look at the tire compound thing, Hurdle is on the softs. Sears is on the hard.
I don't think he's going to challenge it. Nope, there he goes.
Nope, that's it.
It's happened.
It's not over yet, though.
No, but I mean, this is the first time we've actually seen that particular occurrence happen still.
Yes, this is absolutely the first time in Canadian Motorsports Network history and Dart Series history where we have seen the leader lap the whole field. We almost had that back in NASCAR Season 2 from Ty Higginbottom at Martinsville. That failed. We had Long Beach earlier this season in Dart. Charlie Sears falling 1 position short. There was... it got out of my mind. What was that other one this season?
Well, just last week you were
thinking
Milwaukee might have been a possibility.
I was unsure of it, but yes, Corbin MacAulay falling 1 position short against CD Mangrum. But now this time around, I was thinking, yeah, that would have been the 3rd time's the charm situation. But actually, I think 3rd time's the charm still technically counts within the Dart Series because that Ty Higginbottom Martinsville thing was NASCAR. So technically speaking, I originally thought 3rd time's the charm thing wouldn't count, but within the Dart Series, so far it's looking like that. But I'm still finding it hard to really come to terms with that because there's still 4 laps to go, and we're all hoping and praying. I know especially some of the people in the chat are, that this guy right here makes it to the checkered flag in a clean piece.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the biggest question from here to the end, obviously. Because otherwise, again, there's absolutely no doubt as to who would take the checkered. It's just a matter of, keeping clean from here on.
So Daniel Cudmore letting Sears get by as now we're going to be at 3 laps to go. Andy Hurdle still hanging on to that 2nd position. Ty Higginbottom in 3rd. Mike Marini still 4th. Jose Mercado still 5th. Daniel Cudmore 6th. Hunter Young 7th. And I guess we can now officially say half the field out. Half the field still on track. Amazing how Hunter Young is still going, though.
Again, just a matter of you were saying?
No, Hunter, keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, he's stuck around.
Keep going.
Just, yeah, look a little dicey there for a minute.
You have 3 laps to go. You can finish this.
Yep, just keeping it clean from here on should be literally everybody's objective that's still on track at this point.
And now coming through that final turn just past the pit lane entry, we're going to be at 2 laps to go for the number 32 of Charlie Sears. Again, looking for his 2nd career victory in the DART Series. Been well overdue for another one after, again, winning the pole and dominating back at Long Beach. Again, almost slapping the whole field, fell just short by 1 position, but this time around it looks like he will be able to achieve the record. Again, we still have to get through another lap and about a half or so here before we can officially say it, but it's looking as though the number 32 is very well on his way.
I mean, I think we were probably able to call that since, lap 3 or 4, but again, he's just basically been able to, navigate the chaos, like I said off the beginning. He's the guy that's, again, was just here a couple weeks ago in his other series as he'll sneak by Mercado here once again. But, Sears, there really isn't a whole lot more to be said about tonight's performance. He's the guy who's fast. He's a guy that's, is under control, and he's a guy who's just seen the white flag, I believe. There's definitely a flag waving.
That is absolutely correct. 1 lap to go in the first annual Detroit Grand Prix 2023 edition here at Belle Isle in Michigan. The number 32 of Charlie Sears. He's led every single lap up to this point. And again, that is quite the accomplishment if he's able to make it to the line safe and sound here in one clean piece, where he wins the pole, he leads every single lap, and he laps the whole field. This is the kind of talent that we've wanted, or that we have been expecting of him, and we've been wanting to see out of this guy all season long. He's had a lot of bad luck, but it looks as though he's finally going to be able to punch Lady Luck in the face. No, we do not promote violence here. We do not.
Wow.
We're not promoting violence here, we swear. But knowing how this race has gone, I think we're fair enough to say that, to the checker flag, finally back to victory lane. The number 32 of Charlie Sears takes the checker flag. He is the first ever Detroit Grand Prix winner in the Canadian Motorsports Network and the DART Series here on iRacing. It's been a long time coming since that dominant win at Long Beach back on October 10th.
Yeah, pretty much a month in between victories, but I mean, class of the field doesn't even do Charlie Sears justice here.
Yeah.
Again, the proof is literally on the leaderboard right now. Are we going to end under caution?
No. That's automatic after the checkered.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was missing something or what was happening. But, goes without saying, Sears hit the target here tonight.
Absolutely he did. And then rounding out the podium, Andy Hurdle and Ty Higginbottom getting the job done there. Mike Marini in 4th. Jose Mercado finally is going to get that long overdue top 5 finish. Daniel Cudmore still making his way, I think maybe kind of, unless he's just making it back to pit lane, but it looks as though for sure Daniel Cudmore 6th. Hunter Young will be the final car to finish the race in 7th. And you know what, we might as well just get it, unless he's going to make his way to pit road, we might as well see him make it all the way back and maybe give him some chance and cheer. I guess give him some chance and cheers because, you see how sideways he's going. I don't know how many times he penned in. It was 5, 6 times, something like that, maybe even 7. And yet he's still going to make it to the finish line.
And
I guess he may have already did. Or I guess he already did. So, yay.
Hey, points are points. How many times have we said that?
And I think Hurdle and Higginbottom may have completely forgotten to go to the start-finish line.
I think they're probably just happy to be in one piece.
That I can certainly agree with. But anyways, we can get to the unofficial results, even though we technically already were talking about them anyways. Charlie Sears getting the win, laps the whole field, because why not? Andy Hurdle, Ty Higginbottom round out the podium. Mike Marini and Jose Mercado round out the top 5. Daniel Cuttermore 6th. Hunter Young 7th. Kyle Nolan 8th. Mark Ouellette 9th. Corbin MacAulay rounding out the top 10. And then CD Mangrum 11th. Dylan Bahm 12th. Michael Dimitrov 13th. Jason Butler rounding out the field in 14th. Very quick to go through again, knowing only 14 drivers participating in tonight's race. Notable names like Jonathan Swainson, Patrick Hernandez, missing 2 weeks in a row. And again, too, like, only 7 cars finishing the race. We only had 5 cars finish, like, no more than 10 laps down. So, yeah,
It was a bit of a rough night.
yeah, give me a second here. With all that being said,
I feel like we need like a meme here. This would be the time for it, wouldn't it?
yeah, that you obviously had the GIF, or is it GIF or GIF?
I mean, I've used both, but I mean,
Okay.
sure, we can bring the octopus back.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe I would say maybe for every race you should have the one where it's at the start, and then have a meme one just in case.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, why not? Just in case something like this happens again.
I don't know. Maybe there was an octopus, or maybe there was one up in the air the whole time, and it was just using all of its legs to just kind of go, oop, this car, oop, this car.
I mean,
Racing gods?
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, the track was certainly slippery enough to have an octopus there.
Yes, absolutely
But,
slick. I mean, let me look at the weather info tab. Like 42 degrees track temperature. Sure, slick racetrack, whatever. Okay.
I mean, we can try and go with that. Again, the changing surfaces of that particular track do present an additional challenge to it. But, I mean, it always felt like one guy was going to navigate it better than everybody else. I don't know if we necessarily thought it was going to be this level of superiority or supremacy, whatever you want to call it. But, hey, that's 2 street circuits for Charlie Sears. Now he's got to bring it, in a couple other spots here before, the season comes to an end, and maybe this starts his second half charge.
Absolutely, and because my throat is absolutely destroyed now, knowing I came into this literally with a throat problem, I guess that's pretty much all that's going to be said here, at least for you, Jordy. I'm going to still try and get to Charlie Sears here for this post-race winner interview, which, again, I think we missed out on. I missed out on back at Long Beach. I don't think he knew about the way it goes here within the network. I mean, you can't blame the rookies. They're just new here. They're still trying to figure things out, obviously, but it seems like it's finally figured out this time. So, with all that being said, I'm going to get to the 2023 Detroit Grand Prix post-race winner interview here in just a little bit here with Charlie Sears. Jordy, that's going to be it for you, obviously. It should also be noted that, unfortunately, because I have another priority to get to next Tuesday night, Road America will not be broadcast. And now, quite frankly, I could maybe give the time, maybe like Wednesday, I have thought of the idea on maybe Wednesday or Thursday. Maybe I could grab the replay and maybe do like a little bit of a live stream, like a reaction or so, kind of like, we could call it like quote unquote tape delayed or something. Don't know for sure yet. We'll see how next week goes. But the main point should be that Road America will not be live streamed next Tuesday night, unfortunately. So, yeah, Jordy, we're going to be seeing you back whenever we get to the Iowa doubleheader within 2 weeks.
Actually, on that point, now you won't actually see me until Pocono because I was going to miss the Iowa week anyway.
Oh.
Yeah,
good to know.
So
that's
it'll be a few
tragic.
weeks.
Oh, man.
Yeah. No worries, though, at
I
all.
mean,
we'll see you when we see you.
I mean, life gets in the way, Jordy.
It does.
It absolutely does. So I guess it'll be a couple weeks for you then, and then one for me. So with all that being said, Jordy, since it will be another while until we see each other again, once again, thank you very much for, as per usual, your weekly educational and historical insights, tips, and just all the above, So, on the other side of this broadcast booth here, it's Jordy Kerr, who's been here since the very beginning from Alberta, Canada, the other side of the country. Jordy, once again, thank you very much, and we will see you in a couple weeks' time for, I guess, it will be Pocono for you.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit. It'll be December at that point. That's crazy.
And I'll be 20.
Okay, I will be close to being significantly older than that.
All right, Jordy, thank you very much. And guys, stay tuned. I still have to get to Charlie Sears for the post-race winner interview for tonight's Detroit Grand Prix. Stay tuned. Alrighty then, folks, we are back here for the post-race winner interview for the 2023 Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle. And my goodness, man, I mean, it's kind of overdue for this guy, especially knowing how much bad luck that he's had as of recently. I mean, it's kind of that dominant performance we saw back at Long Beach where Charlie Sears, number 32, unfortunately fell just short of, he certainly didn't fall short of winning, but he fell short of a record that still hadn't been achieved yet within the Canadian Motorsports Network, which was lapping the whole field, fell one position short of it, but this time around, he gets the pole, he leads every single lap, and he laps the whole field. He finally sets a record that, again, hadn't been achieved for so long, but finally it does. Charlie Sears, man, you breaking records, making history here within the Canadian Motorsports Network. I must imagine this is absolutely, it must be a relief, too, knowing how some of the past couple of weeks have been going for you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, there have been too many DNFs, too many, not great finishes. So it was awesome to win one. I love Detroit. I clearly love and am reasonably decent at street circuits. So I was really fortunate to start on pole. That was kind of my main goal, is get on pole. That way I don't have to deal with hopefully don't have to deal with the chaos. And we got off to a start. I was able to put the lead on and just stay out of the wall. Like that was that then became the goal after about lap 5. Don't end the race.
For sure. And I am a little curious, too, knowing that a lot of good contenders were taken out of this race very early, and the fact we only had half the field finish this one. Did it ever get to you at any point? Did it ever kind of, stress you out or give you some anxiety maybe that you're just really praying to get to the end in one clean piece?
Oh, yeah, every lap, like regardless of whether I'm in first, in last, I want to make sure I'm making it to the end. This is a tricky track. Like you and Jordy were saying, it's slippery out there. It's not necessarily cold. It was a lot hotter during practice, and it kind of cooled down a bit, but it's just such a bumpy track. The car does not want to stay stuck to the ground, so it's really hard to push it and really easy to push it over the edge and just have things end.
Indeed, and now this is, again, unfortunately, we were not able to get to an interview back at Long Beach, but we are able to this time around. Obviously, Charlie Sears, first time interviewing you here within the Canadian Motorsports Network. You are the first ever driver in the network's history and Dart Series history as well. The first and only one ever to have a pro iRacing license, so certainly having that kind of a title there must certainly feel good too. And just kind of take us through what it's been like transitioning into the Canadian Motorsports Network. Again, your first season here, and you got all that pedigree from the regular iRacing stuff. Just tell me what it's been like so far this season. I know it's definitely been a roller coaster for you so far, but just how have you been making yourself comfortable? How's it been feeling with you so far, and what's it been like interacting and driving with some fellow superstars here within the Canadian Motorsports Network?
Yeah, it's been great. Like, honestly, I joined before I got my pro license. I was in the qualifying series. I ended up 21st out of the top 20 in the qualifying series who would get their pro license. So that was a bit of a bummer, and I was just looking to keep driving the car. I loved the IR18 from that other series, and just was looking for something else to kind of enjoy out there. And everyone else in the Canadian Motorsports Network has been fantastic. It was really welcoming just as someone brand new. Everyone's out there helping each other. It's just been great. Like it's a lot of fun. It's competitive. It's enjoyable. It's what I love about sim racing. Like you just get to get together, hang out, go try and win a race, but help each other out afterwards and look towards Road America coming up, and that'll be an interesting track.
And yeah, speaking of that too, now we're pretty much halfway through the season now, and there is still, quote-unquote, some time remaining to, improve on things and obviously get the job done. But again, though, you're 7th in the points right now. You're most certainly, with knowing what happened here tonight, you're going to certainly shoot your way up through the points. But, we got Road America coming up next week. We got the Iowa doubleheader as well. And just knowing kind of the roller coaster of a campaign that you've had so far, what's it going to take to be able to continue the momentum here from tonight and be able to carry on that success into the next couple races and be able to get yourself back into contention for the Greg Moore Cup, especially knowing what your raw pace, your raw talent, just everything about you is just like it's on paper. You should be right up there, but it just really hasn't been going absolutely perfectly your way. Maybe it changes after what happened here tonight. Just take us through what it's going to take to be able to get back in the running for the second annual Greg Moore Cup.
Yeah, I think just finishing well. It's you don't need to win races to place high, but I've had too many DNFs where I'm really not getting points, so it's challenging to kind of push up there. Dylan has been consistently finishing high. Andy's been consistently finishing high, so they're shooting up there in the points, even if they're not taking wins every single race. That's not necessarily how to take home the rookie standings or the the Greg Moore for the overall standings. So it'd be really interesting to see how the next couple of weeks go. I'm just going to try and stay in the pack. I think I used up all my luck getting my pro license. I'm certainly not one of the best drivers on iRacing. My iRating still thousands below everyone else in that series, but I'm paying. I'll say I'm paying for it here, but there's definitely something like it's all me, right? Like that's one of the things I love about racing is you are racing with other people, but it comes down to the person in the car doing the best and just driving to the best of their abilities to get the best finish possible. So I've been fortunate in a lot of these races to have won them, and there's plenty where I go home early.
Absolutely. And now this is going to be, I would imagine, your first of many opportunities to do this. We try to do this with every single winner that we have here within the Canadian Motorsports Network. Who would you like to thank for being able to come on out here every single Tuesday night, or I guess that one Monday night, rare Monday night with the Indy 250, of course, but just being able to come out here every Tuesday night, whenever it is a Tuesday night. Who would you like to thank for having that opportunity? As I think I just saw your engine blow up.
Yeah, I think my oil pressure's low because I'm just sitting here idling, so I think the engine did explode. But my wife, she's been super supportive of just sim racing in general, right? It's not always easy just sitting in a rig putting up laps. Finish dinner, I got to go practice for the World Championship on Thursday. That's not as exciting as let's spend some time together. So she's been super supportive, and I'm really thankful for that. And then obviously everyone on 499 has been super supportive as well, jumping into spot every now and again and just constantly cheering me on as things go, no matter where it is. So there's plenty of folks to thank.
Great to hear. And so with all that being said, I think that will wrap up this post-race winner interview for the first annual Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle for the Canadian Motorsports Network DART Series on iRacing here for Season 2. 2023 edition goes to none other than the number 32 of Charlie Sears, claiming his second career victory within the series and within the network. And finally, we have someone that achieves the record of lapping the whole field within one race, of course. So once again, Charlie, congratulations, and hope to see you get the job done 2 weeks in a row, maybe at Road America. Unfortunately, I have another priority to get to. I won't be able to broadcast that one, but hopefully I'll be able to hear the news that 2 weeks in a row you get the job done and you can still keep going for that second annual Greg Moore Cup here within your first season in the DART Series and in the Canadian Motorsports Network. So once again, congratulations, celebrate well, and best of luck in the World Championship there as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoy your time off, and just throw me your YouTube API key. I'll stream it from in the car during the race.
We'll see what happens, but anyways, congrats, and cheers.
Yep, have a good one.
And so that was Charlie Sears right there getting the job done here tonight at Belle Isle. And so, I've already said it multiple times, obviously coming up is round 8 of 13. It is the Grand Prix at Road America, 30 laps on November 21st, next Tuesday night. Unfortunately, it will not be broadcasted live next Tuesday night as I have another life priority to get to, so we'll wait and see on what might happen with that, whether maybe I do kind of a quote-unquote tape delay kind of a thing, maybe I react to the replay afterwards, try not to get any spoilers of what happened during the race whenever that night does happen. But if nothing ends up happening when it comes to the Grand Prix Road America, then this means that we will be seeing you towards the end of the month for what is going to be no doubt a thriller of a night at Iowa Speedway for the Iowa Dart 125s, twin races, 250 laps at the Iowa Oval, November 28th, that Tuesday night. That's twin races right there in one night to conclude the month of November, and then we head into 3 more rounds to conclude this second season of Dart Racing. So whatever happens, just keep up to date on our social media accounts as per usual, on our pages on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as well, or X, however we're supposed to put it. But anyways, with all that being said, whenever Jordy and I do see you next, that will be then. It'll be either next week in some form, or maybe it will be back whenever we get to Iowa, whenever it's just me on my own, as Jordy will not be back until round 11, obviously. So with all that being said, on behalf of the Canadian Motorsports Network here, I am Regan MacAulay, the main voice of the network, and then there's my color commentator, Jordy Carher, the competition committee, other staff within the network, and just drivers and just everyone in particular, sponsors as well, involved with the Canadian Motorsports Network. On behalf of all of us, we'd like to thank you for watching, listening, tuning in to another live production of Canadian eMotorsports Network DART Series on iRacing Racing. keep up to date on what we will do based on either, again, Road America or Iowa coming up. So until next time, take care, have a good one, and we will see you very soon in the near future. Take care, and congratulations once again to Charlie Sears.